everyone, Meteorologist and Tuttle here with you. Thanks again for joining me. Some of you might be watching those award shows. I'm not. I'm looking at weather because that's what I do. Let's see, it's been a busy weekend. There are always busy weekends. They never seem to stop being busy. One day, just one day, I promise, Aaron, it'll be still busy. What we're here to talk about, though, is the next winter storm coming in from the west. So we're going to get to that, and I'm going to give you a little weather lesson, which I thought was kind of cool from the last winter storm. I talked about some sleet mixing into the snow totals on the southeast side of town as you approached Moore and Ardmore, and that's what happened there. We'll tell you why that happened, which is kind of neat. So thanks for joining me on my Facebook page, also my patron Facebook page. I've got two Facebook pages, the private group pages for those that are a supporter, and you can be a supporter by tapping this video. You can get the link there to become a Facebook fan subscription, or you can join Patreon or Subscribestar, multiple ways there. And those of you guys that are welcome on Twitter, which is watching through Periscope, and also on YouTube. So appreciate you guys. Hello from Yukon, King of Destruction's in the house. Those names crack me up. All right, I'll tell you what, let's get on with it, shall we? First thing is, you don't have to worry too much about this next storm system. Why? Because ground temperatures, once again, are well above freezing. They're a little colder out here in northwest Oklahoma this time around from where they started the last system. So the better shot of seeing some road issues will be out in the Panhandle and also northwest Oklahoma with this next event. All right, the next thing on is the explainer again as to what the difference is between snow, sleet, freezing, rain, and rain. So we're going to have all mixture again across the state. This is one of those mixed winter storm events that happen. So basically what you get is you get all the cold air, enough to produce snow, and the column of the atmosphere is below freezing all the way down. So it's good old-fashioned snowflakes. Easy. Piece of cake. All right. Then you have a little nudge of warm air that sneaks in. This is option 2. What that does is it melts the snowflakes into rain. And then there's plenty of cold air below this layer, so it freezes back into sleet. And sleet is going to be one of the forecast elements of this upcoming period. Those little hard balls that fall. Then you have the warm that's really thick, and then that ends up melting it to where by the time it refreezes, it's hitting the ground, and so it's flash freezing. We call that freezing rain. And then, of course, the warm air is just too deep, and it's above freezing all the way from where it starts to snow to all the way down to the surface. Well, then it's just good old-fashioned rainfall. Now, what's neat is down in south of Norman, we have a radiometer, which I'm going to show you the output of that for this last system. By the way, here's a forecast sounding of what we're looking at when we look at that warm nose on that graphic. It's this guy right here. It's this little jot. This dashed line is the 0 degrees Celsius, in other words, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything that rides right along this line and just nudges to the right of it, that's that warm layer that sneaks in, and it's usually anywhere between 1,000 and sometimes up to around 2 kilometers is where this nose likes to come in most times. And so right now in the model data for tomorrow, it's nosing in about 2 kilometers. So what that means is it'll take whatever falls as snow in this area of the atmosphere, and it'll melt it right here back into rain. And then this part of the atmosphere is below freezing, so it starts to refreeze. And as long as the track all the way down is long enough, it'll turn back into sleet. If it's not long enough, it'll turn into freezing rain. All right, now here's what a radiometer looks like. This is down south of Norman. So this is the last event. So what we had 1 to 2 kilometers. You see this warm kind of orangey yellow color, orangey red color. That's anywhere from 0 to about 2.5 degrees Celsius. All right, so that's above freezing. It's below freezing this area in the blue, and it's below freezing in this area in the blue. So that warm nose is right here. All right, look what happens around the 7 o'clock time frame. So this is basically 7 p.m. and then we get to around 9, and up here is around midnight, 12 o'clock in the morning. This is 3 in the morning, and then now we're at 6 a.m. here. Okay, so the warm nose expands. Look, it grows, and it gets warmer. Now, precipitation is falling or starting to fall during this time frame. Now, what happens is the atmosphere continues to start to cool down. Look what it's doing. It's battling the warm air, that little warm nose. And around 9 o'clock in the morning at 3 a.m., you're starting to get that precipitation overtaking the warm nose. So by the time you hit about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, look what happens. pretty much erodes it, and so now you got that cold air all the way down the surface. So that's how you can get the sleet, which is in this area, because of that warm nose, gradually eroding to where you get all cold air in the entire column, and then you get the old-fashioned snowflake. Pretty cool. Hope that was understandable. Sometimes these work out okay, but I thought that was a pretty good explanator. So that was kind of a neat thing. But this is a real-time measurement of how this can evolve. The models will never quite grasp this. They'll try, but they never quite can get it right because it's too minute, it's too small scale. But having a system like this in place, if we had a ton of these, it would make forecasting a lot easier, at least in real time to short-term forecasts. It's a great tool to have. So anyway, let's get on with the show. This is what we have currently, which is some cooler weather. It's filtered in today behind a cold front, which is now moving into southeast Oklahoma. So the cold air is moving on in from the north and west. It's more of a Pacific air mass, not so much of an Arctic front. So the cold air here is not going to be as intense as it was with the last one. Now, as we head into the morning hours, we're at freezing here in Oklahoma City, and we're in the upper 20s to low 30s here across the Panhandle and up in Kansas. This cold air kind of sits around, but it moderates during the day. We're back into the 40s in some cases. Out in western Oklahoma, it's hanging in there into the lower 30s because of cloud cover and precipitation. We'll show you that here in just a second. As we head on into Tuesday morning, we're still hanging on the 30s, so it is going to be cold the next couple of days. You're going to need your coats. As we head into Tuesday afternoon, we're still into the 30s. You can see all the blue out in the Panhandle. That's where all the freezing precipitation, for the most part, is going to be during this beginning of this event. Here on Wednesday, the blue kind of expands a little bit. This is the morning hours, so you see lots of 20s showing up and still some 30s. Wednesday afternoon, though, once again, warmed above freezing. So this is not going to be one of those, terrible events. It's going to be an event, but not one like we had last time around. It'll be a little bit different. We're going to have a little bit more of that sleet mixed in. This is how things ought to progress. In theory, there's going to be a little wiggle room here. But the point being is we have some showers, even a couple of thunderstorms down across southern and southeast Oklahoma this afternoon. Those are dying out, moving away. We've got a blossoming of the precipitation occurring here across the Panhandle tomorrow afternoon into western Oklahoma. So some light rain here in central Oklahoma. This is all happening during the, let's say, late morning. This is late morning to midday to the afternoon hours. So it's kind of a gradual expansion of a precipitation shield. You do see that blue on the map, even some pink. That's getting close to Oklahoma City. It's just out to the north and west. So there'll be a little bit of a rain-snow mix out here, a little bit of sleet thrown in to this area of the state, northwest Oklahoma. As we head into the afternoon, in the evening on Monday, it tries to convert it all into light snow up in that area. Still likely to be a little bit of sleet mixed in. Then the secondary part of this system gets cranking across New Mexico, southeastern Colorado, the Panhandle area. So if you're traveling out into this part of the area of the country, or even out here, you're going to have some travel spots. So just so you know, the road conditions likely will deteriorate, especially quickly starting on Monday night. Now, as we head into Tuesday, the model is going to have a little tough time trying to figure out how much moisture is left with it to work with, and what the QPF total is going to be. But as we head into Tuesday night, that's our best shot here in Oklahoma City of getting that winter mixed bag. Now, the NAM model is the most aggressive as far as that happening. Others are just more of just the cold rain, but the sounding profile is right on the borderline of a little bit of a touch of freezing rain, touch of sleet, a little bit of light snow, stretching from central Oklahoma to the north and west. You can see how most of the snow, though, at least on this model, is up to the northern parts of the state, and that's out of here by Wednesday afternoon. So, in to recap, storm system coming on in, a mixed bag of precipitation for the Oklahoma City metro area, central Oklahoma. Our best shot at seeing some of that is going to be Tuesday night, and then especially starting, let's go as early as late day Tuesday. So we'll say early evening, 5, 6 o'clock, something like that would be the opening window of that. As the atmosphere cools back down, then nighttime, we'll start to get a little bit of that winter mix. But road conditions should be decent because the ground temperatures are pretty warm. How much will fall? That's always the million-dollar question. Well, the models do better at the idea of a freezing rain and sleet accumulation than they'll do on the snow accumulation. So for this first round, the models are going for a little bit of light freezing rain with some sleet mixed in here across. This is on Monday, by the way, out into the Texas Panhandle and Amarillo points out to Texas Tech area, Lubbock, and then stretching back into far western Oklahoma. Some of that trying to sneak into west central Oklahoma, almost hitting Canadian County. That'd be just a little bit of sleet, freezing rain mixed in. I don't think it'll cause any problems on the roadways, but just let you know that's what the model's picking up on. Then that secondary wave Tuesday night is picking up on that secondary round of sleet and freezing rain here mixture in Oklahoma City, stretching on up there into Missouri with the part of that. Now, I usually don't use the NAM for snowfall totals, by the way, because they're always erroneous until we get closer to the event, as long as they kind of go with the European model. But I'm just going to throw this out there just so you can see it. You can see it produces most of the snow. The take home on this one, the only take home you should have, not the amounts, is where the focus is, and that's in the northern third of Oklahoma, stretching out to the southwest a little bit. So a lot of this right here is going to be sleet contaminated, so you're not going to get as much snow in that area. Better snow totals across far northwest Oklahoma Panhandle and into Texas Panhandle, which I saw the Weather Service forecast out there. They put a myriad of potentials when it comes to snow. Look, the bottom line is don't get lost in the minutia of how many inches you're going to have. It's going to be enough to cause problems, enough to cause travel issues, and enough to play in. All right, that's your take home right now. But you can see several inches are likely out in that area. And maybe in some of the higher elevations in New Mexico, you might get up to around a foot. Now, again, this is just the NAM model. What I'm going to do is, let's see, I'm going to go 48 hours out. I think a couple of the other runs may have come in by now since we are kind of late. Let's see what they do. Yeah. Okay, just going to kind of skip through. These are some of our high resolution runs that kind of paint a myriad of outcomes here. But you can see that, again, the take home, you can see where most of this snow centered northwest Oklahoma, kind of dying out as it moves into northeast Oklahoma. Let's see, which run is that? That's the NAM, and then there's this one. Okay, so long term, if you mix in a lot of that sleet, you might have more, when it comes to final snowfall totals, you might have something more like this, because you have to count for the melting from the ground temperatures, then you got to count for the sleet contamination. So in Oklahoma itself, sure, it might have a few flakes in here along with the sleet, but measurable snow, little spot up here in northeast Oklahoma, about an inch. Here in northwest Oklahoma, 1 to 2 inches with a pocket of maybe 3. And then the Panhandle, there's the iffy card. The European model's got some spots up around 6, but it's got 2 to 3 right now. And as you know, this is still, we're Sunday night. The event here is still mainly in this area of the country for Tuesday into Wednesday, so there's still plenty of time that the models get a better idea on the, let's just say, a closer proximity to the amounts of snow that would be expected. The other big take home from this is the rainfall. We're getting some really good rain again with this system. Now, the bulk of it will run right along 44 again in the southeast Oklahoma, so that's about an inch or more in many areas just along and south of Tulsa down toward Norman. So we can always use more rain, and of course even western and northwest Oklahoma get, although that will be more of a mixture of the sleet and the snow. All right, so I think that was everything I wanted to say. Let me see if there was anything else. Oh, I did want to show you the difference. Now, I touched briefly on this in my blog. All right, so this, let me go here. That's Tuesday night. Let me head here to Wednesday morning. All right. So the big difference is with this system, one is we don't have as much cold air to play with, but two, the upper level low, which the newer runs at least have it hanging in there a little bit longer than the ones earlier today when I wrote the blog. But the idea is to have this closed low, which is basically a ring around the low, is what you're going to see here on this map. So what happens is if you can get that closed low to move right overhead, sometimes you can get cold air that'll wrap around the backside and kind of fall down through the column, and we can get some dynamic cooling, and you get a little bit better snow out of this. So that would be what I would hope for to transpire. But the models aren't exactly saying it's going to happen. As a matter of fact, because this is new, I hadn't even seen this run yet, but let's see what it does with that low. All right, so this is by lunchtime on Wednesday. The low's gone. In other words, that circle is now filling in. This is what's left of this little kink here. But what it's turning into is just a broad open wave, a trough, if you will. And once that happens is it loses that other potential I mentioned. So it's weakening is what that implies. So the impact from that is a lot less when it comes to potential snow amounts. Again, that's just the NAM model. We'll use that because it came in first here tonight on the extended, just to show the upper level support. And it does pretty good with other features, just not the actual final snow total. So those are the ones you tend to want to ignore. All right. That's it. That's all I have for you. So hopefully that was helpful. Hope you had a great weekend. So, I tell you what, I want to hear there's nothing coming for the Metro, but thanks for keeping us up to date. You're hilarious. Thanks for the tip there on YouTube. So, yeah, it's not going to be a huge deal as it looks right now for Oklahoma City. There's that model day that came in that showed us a little taste Tuesday evening, Tuesday night, and Wednesday morning. It's the first time that's even shown up, and it's still very, very light. So we'll see if that is a new trend that takes shape. The other models don't seem to go jive with that yet, so we'll have to see if that comes around. But that's why we still have time to watch this. But the general forecast is for most of it just to be up to our north and west as far as the accumulating stuff. And because ground temperatures are pretty warm, the air temperatures you saw on that map fluctuate from right around freezing to above. It means it's not going to be much of an issue with us as far as travel concerns or even power outages. So in all, it's going to be a minimal system with just a lot of moisture and just cold. So you'll want to bundle up as normal as it is winter. All right, the hat needs to go. Well, you know what? It was my Sunday, Anita, and I was working, and then I went to the gym. And I'm sorry, you're just going to have to deal with the hat today. Now, if you'd like to send me a hat, you can do that. I will not promise I will wear it, but you can send me one. And other times I will comb my hair for you. It just depends on how busy I am. Sometimes I'm busy. But thanks for the comment. I just happened to glance down and saw that one. That's pretty ridiculous. But anyway, all right. I got to run. So I got to go shower for the day. I'm sure you wanted to hear that. I got things to do. It's almost 10 o'clock. Yeah, you guys have no idea. I've told you this before. I need 2 of me. And then the third of me. The first 2 do all the work I got to do. The third one takes a perpetual vacation for the other 2. Then I'm set. Figure that out. I'm golden. Listen, thanks again for watching. No time for questions tonight, but I do appreciate you as always. And we'll do more Facebook Lives lunchtime this week for the updates and also in the evenings. So we'll see you next time. All right, good night, everybody.